I'm your Professor Joelle. Let's get into this mini lecture about the match cut transition. I'm going to be going through a lot of information really quickly, so feel free to pause or watch whatever you need to watch over and over again until you understand the concept. So a match cut is a type of transition between scenes used in movie or television. It combines one or more elements from the first scene and moves them into the second scene, creating a seamless transition. So let's watch one and see what we notice.
Titanic was called the ship of dreams. And it was. It really was.
Love that bone one. But as you can see from the examples, that was a transition using visual elements, and it mostly focused on the composition of the items in the frame. So in Titanic, you could see that the wreck of the ship transformed pretty easily into what the ship used to be, and that bone, as you can see in the picture in the top left corner, was similar to the satellite, and that creates a really cool kind of visual trick. Another great example is this classic scene from Grease, where the car and the men remain in the same shape, but the scene behind it changes and just creates a really cool transition. So our next type of match cut is an action match cut, and this is involving movement in the frame. As long as it's any type of movement, it doesn't really matter what, as long as that movement remains the same between scenes, then that's going to qualify as an action match cut. So this is where we have an example of the camera movement staying the same in between two different scenes. The character changes and the background changes, but the 360 kind of movement stays the same. I think that one's really cool. Another example, which is pretty popular, is a character movement. So it could be something as simple as opening and closing your eyes, or turning your head, or as this one shows, looking down and then looking up. And as long as you're moving between scenes, that's gonna work, right? The eye one is pretty common though, so do not use that one for your example. And the last one we have is an object movement example. As you can see, when the legs walk across the scene, the thing changes. Think about doing this with a bus or a train or a car. When the car passes by, the scene in the background changes. I think it's a really cool visual trick. Oh, and here's another one from Star Wars where that dust kind of comes up. Also really cool. So let's listen to one more and see if you can guess what this type of match cut is. If you guessed auditory match cut, then you were correct, and that involves a transition using sound in between scenes. So the sound is going to stay the same, or at least very similar, just like that sword going into its sheath sounded exactly like other swords being forged by the fire in the next scene. So in summary, a match cut is a creative technique used to transition between scenes. You have graphic match cut, a match cut using some type of movement on action, and an auditory match cut using sound and sound effects. And remember, match cut only works if one element remains the same between scenes. So what I want you guys to do is answer the Google Doc survey I'm going to send you out, thinking about and brainstorming what type of scene you want to create, because we are going to be making our own match cut examples in class next week. So think about what you want to do, review the different types, Google any example you want, anything you need to get inspiration, bring it to class, and let's make it happen. Excited to see what you all come up with.